starting your day with news from your hometown. This is WDBJ7 Sunday Morning.
Another night of protest leaves destruction across the country. It all started in the name of George Floyd.
We must fight for justice in the courtroom.
But now stands for something more.
This nation is not broken. It was never intended to work for us.
We're tracking the fallout from the state capitol to here in Southwest Virginia. This special edition of WDBJ7 Sunday Morning starts now.
Thank you so much for staying with us. I'm Katie Mazur.
Yeah, thanks for joining us this morning. I'm Pete DeLuca.
And we are going to get right to the news now. Our top story this morning, protesters over the death of George Floyd turned violent across the country overnight. Businesses and even parts of major cities are destroyed. As you can see on your screens, buildings caught fire in major cities like Los Angeles, New York, and even right here in Virginia. And we do have live team coverage from the aftermath of the protests in Virginia. WDBJ7's Jane Caffrey is in Richmond. She has been live there all day yesterday. Can you walk us through what the last 24 hours have been like for you?
Well, Katie, when we got here to Broad Street around 8 o'clock last night, protesters were here chanting, making their voices heard peacefully. But you can see today from this debris, the ash left over, that just feet from where that peaceful protest was happening. Later in the evening was one of the biggest fires in the city as Richmond was literally burning.
Basically, I just walked up and I wanted to observe what was going on. It was a piece of history, and I saw a line of police and I saw a completely graffitied building. Scary as a whole in a neighborhood vibe.
Canisters that were being fired. We can't say for sure, but people on the city here were certainly on edge for hours. And as the fires grew, the flames grew, and the smoke swelled, threatening to overtake a nearby building, police did use tear gas to disperse a large crowd that was convening here around the flames, and only then were the fire crews able to come in and put the fire out. Also, the United Daughters of the Confederacy headquarters was ignited by protesters last night, and state police set up a perimeter as dozens of neighbors looked on. All right, now we do want to point out, too, that despite the huge flames here, this building had relatively little damage, but it did take a lot for the flames to be put out. And those two fires were just two major fires set in the city as protesters walked through the streets. We also saw trash cans, dumpsters, even a car set ablaze. Katie?
Wow, Jane, I mean, just the images that you sent back to us, it doesn't even look like Richmond anymore. It looks like a war zone. I am so glad that you guys are safe. Please continue to do so, and we'll check back in with you in a little bit.
Meanwhile, back here at home, protesters were out in full force well into the night in Roanoke before ultimately being broken up by police. A dramatic ending to a day of action and activism in Roanoke, all in the name of George Floyd, the unarmed black man who died in police custody in Minnesota on Monday.
We are heartbroken because thousands of African American men, women, children have lost their lives through police brutality.
The day began with a peaceful protest in Washington Park hosted by the Roanoke NAACP and was followed by a march downtown.
We cannot sit still any longer and not be heard.
Other gatherings took place at Walmart, Target, Burlington, and Sheetz before making their way downtown as well.
I don't deserve to be shot while I'm unarmed with my hands up while I'm lying on the ground. We just want justice, man.
Ultimately, the gathering downtown was broken up by police after a firework or flare was thrown.
If you stay, you will be arrested.
But the end of the day Saturday is far from the end of the mission of these protesters.
We have been oppressed for over 300 centuries. Nothing has changed.
There's been numerous George Floyds over and over and over again, and something needs to change.
The Time now is 7:04. Let's get a quick check of your forecast with meteorologist Christian Johansson. Christian, beautiful start to the morning here. Looks like that's going to last all day long.
Yeah, we're going to see plenty of sunshine across our region. The biggest thing you're going to notice if you step outside is the decrease in humidity here. We still had some pretty humid conditions yesterday, especially out towards the east. You're going to continue to see that drop here through the morning into the afternoon and probably linger through tomorrow as well. Plenty of sunshine here at the Virginia Tech campus in Blacksburg. Plenty of sunshine across our region here. Huge difference. We have 40s in some locations up in mountains in the highlands, and you can see 60s out towards the east. So just almost a 20-degree shift in temperatures here across our region. We're going to continue to see some cooler air filter in from the north and northwest for today. So we are looking for our highs across much of the region in the 70s. So we are looking for slightly cooler temperatures this afternoon. Of course, the biggest thing is going to be the humidity. It will stay relatively comfortable today into tomorrow, but the heat rises, the humidity comes with it, and so do the thunderstorm chances here by the end of the week. We'll talk about that in detail coming up here in a few minutes.
Welcome to summer. June 1st tomorrow. Here comes the humidity and the heat.
Yeah, officially tomorrow is meteorological summer. Of course, we don't roll into summer until the solstice here.
Yeah, but most of us also consider meteorological summer the start of summer. Yeah. All right, Christian. Thanks.
And we continue now with the racial inequality protests happening across the country, looting in California, buildings on fire in the nation's capital, arrests and curfews in cities from coast to coast. This is what's happening right now in America as anger and hurt turns from peaceful protests to violence and chaos. The Twin Cities erupting for a fifth night in violence and destruction after officials urged people to stay home. Coast-to-coast protests, New York, Chicago, and in Los Angeles. A quick turn from peaceful to this.
It's one of our darkest days when I saw it last, and it's repeating, and it's a very bothers me a great deal.
Cities across the country put curfews in place, like Atlanta, where protests raged Friday night.
For as bad as this looked on television, this was 10 times worse last night.
And protesters came as close to the White House as Secret Service would allow. At the protest core, the death of 46-year-old George Floyd, an unarmed black man who died in the custody of Minneapolis police Monday.
The destruction, the hate, that is not in the honor of Mr. Floyd.
I want to be able to go in a white neighborhood and feel safe. I want to be able, when a cop is driving behind me, I don't have to clench and be tense, okay? I want to be able just to be free and not have to think about every step I take.
Protesters faced off with police and Secret Service in riot gear near the White House Saturday night. Dumpsters and a car near the White House were set on fire, and the windows of some businesses were smashed. Police fired pepper spray at the demonstrators. The D.C. National Guard was called in as violence and vandalism increased. Meanwhile, in Nashville, protests also continue for the death of George Floyd. Protesters smashed windows and ignited a fire inside Nashville City Hall. Metro Nashville Police said they deployed gas at the historic courthouse to protect the building after protesters set it on fire. The fire department was then forced to respond.
And in North Carolina, many people gathered yesterday in downtown Wilmington to call for justice for George Floyd. Heavy rain did not stop them from attending. Many gathered closer together to keep each other dry. Community activist Reverend Dante Murphy says the rally declared what should be the land of the free and the home of the brave.
We, like George Floyd, have our hands tied behind our backs, and our spirits have been thrown to the ground. So we're here today hoping that we can breathe again.
He calls for everyone to never forget and never be silent. Meanwhile, CBS photographer Tom Avalis was struck by a rubber bullet in Minnesota and then taken into custody by State Patrol Saturday night. His camera was rolling during the arrest. That's what you're seeing on your screen right now. At one point, officers forced him to the ground. He was with veteran CBS producer Joan Gilbertson. They both identified themselves clearly and that they were members of the local media. As of 10:45 p.m. Saturday night, Avalis had been released from custody.
We're going to go ahead and take a...
Oh,
Okay. Well, we're going to, there it is. We're going to go ahead and take a live look outside. This is our Poor Mountain camera. Not a cloud in the sky.
Beautiful.
Beautiful sunny start to your Sunday morning. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Now, from the Berglund Automotive Weather Center, here's your hometown forecast.
Hi there, good Sunday morning. If you haven't heard just yet, we're going to have an absolutely gorgeous day across our region here. We're seeing plenty of sunshine in Lexington, and much of our region looks like this, pretty clear out there this morning. The biggest thing you're going to notice if you step outside is that drop in humidity. We had a pretty warm day yesterday. I was out cutting the grass and it was very, very uncomfortable. A little more comfortable across our region here for today. You can see some cooler temperatures up into the highlands here. Just almost a 20-degree difference across our region. We have some 40s, some 50s, and some 60s out towards the east. But later this afternoon, everyone should be right around the same temperature here in the 70s for today. So we'll continue to see some nice dry conditions push in. Our dew points are much lower here, still seeing some higher numbers out towards the east, but you're definitely going to feel that. You start to feel it really in the mid to upper 50s. And definitely on a warm day when we have our dew points in the 60s, you feel that humidity. Not going to be the story here for today. We're going to continue to see these numbers drop for today and linger down in the 40s across much of the region here. So we are talking about a relatively dry day in the atmosphere, and the same for tomorrow. Temperatures look a little cooler as well as high pressure builds in here. So we're looking for 70s again across the majority of our region, maybe a few 60s at higher elevations here. I do have some 60s in Floyd, Bluefield, a couple up into the highlands as well here as we head in the afternoon. Overall, absolutely gorgeous day for today. If you have plans to be on any body of water, a river, or maybe one of our lakes here, again, it's going to be just a gorgeous day outside. The big story is we have this area of high pressure. The jet stream's diving in from the northeast, and that's what's bringing these changes for today and tomorrow. But this changes as we head towards the middle of the week. That high pressure will shift off the coast. We're going to see a front start to push down towards the south. So as that high pressure shifts towards the Atlantic, we're going to get more southerly flow, southwesterly flow into our region here starting Tuesday into Wednesday, and our temperatures are going to climb as well. We're talking 80s, maybe even 90s here in the afternoon for Thursday. So another very warm, humid day, or I should say warm and humid conditions are rolling in for a number of days here after we head into the middle of the week. And then by the end of the week, this front's going to continue to sink down towards the south. Now, depending on where it hangs out, we could see multiple days of afternoon thunderstorms, not an all-day rain. We're looking for afternoon storms here Thursday into Thursday evening, and the same Friday into Friday evening. So this will just generate the opportunity for some afternoon thunderstorms. Now the question is for next weekend, is that front still going to be lingering across our region? We'll keep an eye on that. Less humid conditions across our region for today and tomorrow. Temperatures reflect that as well. But as those temperatures rise, the humidity will return here, and we're looking for a pretty warm day. Some models were showing 90s. I mean mid to lower 90s here on Wednesday. So we're looking for some pretty warm days ahead, and of course some afternoon thunderstorm activity Thursday and Friday.
90 degrees.
It's summer.
It is summer.
It
I know.
is certainly
I need to
summer.
remember that this is what I wanted, you know, back in like February when it was freezing cold all the time. So I shouldn't complain.
Exactly. And our first heat wave will be here before we know it, I'm sure.
Oh, probably very soon.
And of course, all that heat brings those lovely thunderstorms.
Oh, love them.
Gotta love it. All right, Kristen, thanks. Thank you all for spending part of your Sunday morning with us here on WDBJ7. Coming up after the break, SpaceX has finally launched its rocket. Why this is a significant milestone.
Also, today's NASCAR race is at Bristol Motor Speedway. I know that a lot of you guys watching are excited why the half-mile track will be a little more challenging this year.
This is Zoe and Gizmo. They are both lovable mixed breed dogs looking for their forever home. They are both around 9 years old and do come as a pair. They have lived together their entire life and are quite attached to each other. They are looking for a home with no small children, and the shelter would like them to be adopted together. Both of them were a little unsure at first, but very much wanted some attention. The Roanoke Valley SPCA is urging all potential adopters to please call or go online and schedule an appointment to meet Zoe and Gizmo or any other animal available for adoption. Again, the shelter is still looking for kitten fosters. You can sign up to become a foster on their website. If you're looking to support the shelter, food donations and cleaning supplies are still needed and can be dropped off at the front door. During this time, the Roanoke Valley SPCA is also waiving its adoption fees for animals 6 months of age or older. If you are interested in adopting, please call 339-WAGS. That's 339-9247. If you are in need of assistance, don't hesitate to call. The shelter is open Monday through Saturday from noon until 7 p.m. Christian Johansson, WDBJ7.
Oh, Zoe and Gizmo are so cute. Well, in other news, the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket made history this weekend. The rocket actually blasted off from the Kennedy Space Center Saturday with 2 Americans on board. It's the first launch from home turf carrying astronauts in nearly a decade. Never before has a private company launched people into orbit.
People were counting the days since the last time America has sent people to space, from the moment we landed the last space shuttle. That timer has stopped. So America and NASA is back in the business of launching our astronauts to space on our vehicles, and that's fantastic.
Now, how long Benken and Hurley will stay in space is unclear. It will at least be 6 weeks and possibly even up to 4 months.
NASCAR's Cup Series hits the Tri-Cities this weekend with today's race at Bristol Motor Speedway. Matt DiBenedetto nearly won his first Cup Series race there last August, coming in second, of course, to Denny Hamlin. He says the half-mile track makes going in with no practice a little more daunting.
Bristol, there's just no margin for error. It's really, really fast. It's an insanely fast short track. You're on edge already, even when you have your car dialed in. So I'd say that one will be a little bit more, nerve-wracking for the drivers. It'll be fine. It'll work out fine for sure, but you just really are hoping and praying that your car's dialed in right, because it's very sensitive. You're off just a little bit at Bristol, it can affect you worse than these tracks where it's a big racetrack and you have 1.5 miles and you don't have to worry about, going a lap down if you miss it or things like that.
The race gets underway just before 4 o'clock later on today. Some perfect driving weather out there this morning. Beautiful sunshiny Sunday.
Not a cloud in the sky.
This
That is
of
Lexington,
course,
right?
our Lexington camera. Yeah, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back after this.
Welcome back. More than 43,000 COVID-19 cases are now being reported in Virginia. Take a look at your screen that this is an increase of more than 1,000 in the past 24-hour reporting period. The number of deaths has also climbed to 1,370 throughout the Commonwealth.
And this marks the first weekend that Virginians are now required to wear face coverings inside public buildings. Plenty of people were out and about on Saturday, some with masks and some without. WDBJ7's Lindsay Kane has reaction from downtown Roanoke.
Downtown Saturday, people are enjoying the warm weather, many with face masks on. Some folks tell me they agree with the governor's mandate to wear masks inside, while others say it steps on their freedom.
It's a socially responsible thing to do.
Pam and Mike Fridley own an art gallery called The Little Gallery in downtown Roanoke, so they see customers come in and out of their store daily. Now, these customers will have no choice but to wear masks inside the business.
Both parties having a mask on, it's protecting each other. I mean, it may not be foolproof, but it's better than without it.
Governor Northam signed an executive order saying that starting on Friday, May 29th, people must wear face coverings in public indoor settings. The Fridleys are completely on board.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, it's a way of opening up the economy again and protecting each and one of us.
Michael Pittman says he also understands why people should be wearing masks.
If you're going to go somewhere where there's tons of people, you should respect the people.
But even so, he doesn't think that wearing masks should be in order.
I've been trying to wear a mask anyway, but I think making people wear them and making a mandate that they wear them is a little bit ridiculous. And if they're going to make them wear them, then I think they should, provide them for the people.
He believes the mandate infringes on people's freedom.
I feel like freedom is a slippery slope, and you start forcing people to do this and that, and you start wondering what's going to come next.
The mandate will continue to stay in effect as Phase 2 quickly approaches. In Roanoke, Lindsay Kane, WDBJ7.
We can certainly expect a lot of people to be out and about again today with all the beautiful weather.
It's going to be gorgeous. I'm kind of bummed that, I work the morning shift, so I always have to go to bed at 4 o'clock, so I'm afraid I'm going to miss it. But that window of time between now and then, I think I'm going to get out and enjoy it.
You should still have a chance to get outside and enjoy it.
Exactly.
Thanks for hanging out with us here this morning. We'll be back with another half hour of news and weather, including live team coverage from Richmond. Stay with us.